Yeah, hi everybody. Peter here from Prado Places Oz. Today I'm going to be doing a slightly different video to what I normally do. In fact, today I'm going to road test a tent. Just bought a tent the other day. Couldn't resist a bargain in the Anaconda sale, and I bought an Oz Trail Mansion 8-person tent, which sounds a bit excessive when there's only 2 people, but it was half price and it was $200, so can't go wrong really for $200. So I thought I'd give it a try. Never set this tent up before, so you're going to see me in action setting it up for the first time, and I'm going to set it up in my backyard just as a trial run. Unfortunately, I don't have a very big backyard, so I'm hoping it's going to fit. Anyway, we're going to find out in a minute if it does or not. So this is what I purchased. It's an Oz Trail tent. It's the Hightower Mansion 8-person. I think it's always a good idea to buy a tent much larger than the number of people that you want to sleep, because when they say it's a 2-man or a 4-man tent, you've got to be very small to fit 2 people in a 4-man tent with no luggage. So this is the tent I bought, the Oz Trail Hightower Mansion 8-person. Never set it up before, so we're going to have a crack. So one other thing I think is a good idea is probably to put down a tarp like this. And again, this is an Oz Trail tarp. Bought this really to put down under the tent, and although my garden's pretty smooth, I think if you're camping for real out in the wild, you really want to put a ground sheet or a tarp down beneath the tent just to protect the bottom of the tent. If that rips, you're in trouble. If you rip the tarp, it's easy to replace it, obviously. So I'm going to be trialing this tarp here, and it should fit below this tent. So I'm going to take you through unpacking this from scratch. One thing I did buy when I bought this tent was I bought 8 seriously strong tent pegs, because I know from past experience with these sort of tents, they come with really flimsy aluminium pegs, which are normally not much good. So it's normally a good idea to buy some proper sturdy tent pegs. These are like $1.50 each, but I think they'll be worthwhile in the long run. But we'll see what sort of pegs are supplied with the tent when I unpack it. Okay, so I was saying earlier about the big pegs I bought. These are the pegs that come with the tent. You can see they're quite flimsy. They're not really what I would call a sturdy tent peg, but that's what you get with the tent when you buy it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this tarp unpacked and whack it down on the ground, see what sort of space we've got, and then we'll put the tent on top of it. So as you can see here, I don't have a very big backyard, and I'm hoping I'm going to have enough width to get this tent up. Put the tarp down. Tarp's bigger than the space I've got available, as you can see, but I'm going to chuck the tent on top of here and see how it goes. Okay, so there is an instruction book. Not sure how much of this I'm going to need, so we just put it over there at the moment. This is how the tent comes. I'm just going to unroll it, see what's inside. Obviously these are the poles. Goes to one side. This is the little bag of pegs that comes with it. This is obviously the fly sheet in here. So we just put that to one side, and we just unpack the actual tent itself. See which way the door is, and yeah, just orientate it the right way, I guess, so that we can like this is the front here, so we're just turning this around a bit. The front door facing the house. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The tent's about 2.4 meters in length and 2.1 meters in width, so looks like I'm just going to have enough space to put it up. Okay, so all I've done at the moment is I've basically folded up the tarp so it matches the floor plan of the tent itself. So we've got the tent sort of pegged out just at the corners, the tarp's beneath it folded up so it matches the floor plan, and just unpacked the the pole bag, sorry, and this is what we've got in the poles. Got a couple of poles there, some pole bits there, and some fiberglass bits here, so they look like they're for the roof, but we're going to go and have a look and see how this all fits together. Okay, so I basically just unpacked the poles. They're all spring loaded or loaded with string, so they can't really muddle them up. You can see there's 8 of these metal poles. They basically go in the 4 corners and the front and the middle. 2 of these long poles which obviously arch over the roof somewhere, and then another fiberglass pole here which looks like it fits in the roof, and then I think the 2 poles there with the spikes on the end are for the awning, and I'm not going to have enough space to put the awning up here because I'm a bit limited in my garden. Okay guys, so it's pretty straightforward so far. The 2 longer poles have got like a yellow bit of a tape on them that you can see there, and they go across the diagonals, and the diagonal slots are color coded, and similarly there's 1 red pole that goes through the center back to front. So there's just those 3 fiberglass poles, and I think the next step now will just be to connect it to the big legs and get the tent to stand up, so we'll have a crack at that. Okay, so basically these little rings here are going to go into the poles. I've just used my sturdy pegs here to peg out the tent, but what we're going to do now is hopefully put these poles in to the remaining leg and lift the tent up. So goes into these little spikes there. Goes into this little ring there to hold it. Get the 4 corners up and then stretch it out of it. Looks pretty straightforward so far. That goes in there. This little ring here goes up inside the leg, and we're getting a bit of shape to the tent now, which is good. Don't have a whole lot of space here, so just have to make do with the space I've got, I guess. All sort of fits together pretty well, so that's good. Just put the other one on the other side. Sort of lacking a bit of garden space here, which is not helping. Okay, and these got these little clips here which are attached to, and they just clip over the poles. They obviously give the tent a bit of, let's just get that straight. Give the tent a little bit of structure. So I've pretty much been round and put all these little clips on. You can see they just stretch out the fabric and hold it to the poles. This is obviously the inner tent. Haven't put the fly on yet. You can see up the top, I talked about the color-coded poles. You can see the yellow to yellow to yellow. And here you can see the red to red to red. Just got to put this leg on here, haven't got much space. But this is basically the inner tent before the fly goes over the top. Okay, so now just going to whack the fly sheet over. The problem I've got here is I haven't got enough space to peg out the fly sheet properly, but probably just peg it out the best I can in the space I've got. But I think without the fly sheet you're not going to have any protection against the elements, so we'll put that on now. Okay, so thrown the fly sheet over. So the main thing with the fly sheet is that you just make sure you get the orientation right. So the blue section here goes to the front or the back, and they're similar on both sides because there's a door on both sides. So you just got to know that the pale section is the sides and the blue section is the front or the rear, and then it's just pegging out some guy ropes. I haven't really got enough space here, so I've tried to just peg it out the best I can, but I'm pretty tight for space, but you can see it fits up pretty well. It didn't take too long to put up once you know what you're doing. Obviously there's another door down the back here, but I'm pretty close to the fence, so yeah, it looks pretty good. Happy with it. I'll show you the inside. So just one thing to make sure with the guy ropes is to make sure that you do get them to lock. So when they're locking, they're in this position here, so make sure that you pull the right bit through, because it's very easy to pull the wrong bit through and then they don't lock tight like this one. So this is locked tight and it can't slip, so that's the important thing. You can see the back of the tent pegs out quite well, and again, you know, I'm a bit limited for space. So just show you the inside space. So obviously this is the door. There's a similar door on the back as well. This would probably be what you'd call the living area of the tent, I guess. So I'm 6 foot tall. I've got good head height in here. I can stand up, no problem at all. This second room here would be the sleeping area. I've just show you what we've got a sleeping bed. So we've got one stretcher bed there, that's a Zempire stretcher bed, that one. And then we've also got a Black Wolf Mega Deluxe 10 centimeter self-inflating mattress. But you can see what I was saying earlier about getting a tent that's big enough. Now this is an 8-person tent, and there's just 2 beds in there for 2 adults, and you can see that fills up that whole of that section. So quite clearly, if you had a smaller tent than this, you'd be struggling. By the time you put your bedding out like that, you'd be struggling to find anywhere to put your gear. So a couple of other things, just purchased a couple of sleeping bags. These are Spinifax drifters. They were reduced to half price in Anaconda's sale as well. I think they're about $39 each, so pretty good value. And that's going to be the sleeping setup that we've got, along with the 2 beds I've just shown you. So there we go, guys. That's the Oz Trail Mansion 8-person tent assembly, all done. I'd say that took 20 to 30 minutes to actually set up, probably 30 minutes first time, but I think if I was doing it again, clearly I'd do it a lot quicker. Now I know where everything goes. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, give us a like, and help support the channel. Thanks very much.